This is Luke, and in this Build This Viz video, we're going to build a population pyramid. And it's going to look like, let's just jump in, it's going to look like this visualization right here. If you've ever worked with population pyramid data, maybe in like middle school, high school, during your primary years, looks something like this. On the left side, we've got male data that's showing the percent of population by male, and on the right side, you have the percent of population by female. And we're going to rebuild this visualization, and we'll just sort of see how it goes. I'm coming up with ideas right now, even when we're talking about making this video. So let's create a new sheet and get started. I also want to say that I'm in Tableau 2020.4, and I've curated some data that I've found online that is going to have data broken into sex, age, and count. Those are the most important fields. There's actually a lot more in the data. It took a little bit of cleaning to get there, but that's what we're working with. I'm going to keep calling it sex just because that's what was in the data. And we'll just create a table and see what that looks like. So I'm going to double click on sex. I'm actually going to place that on columns. I'm going to go find age. I'm going to take my age calculation and put that on rows, and then count is just going to go on text here. I'll do the entire view so that you can see what we're looking at. I want the male to sort of be a left diverging bar and the female to be a right. And the way I'm going to do that is by creating a calculated field. And I'm just going to call it count pi, count py. Say if sex is equal to, and in this case, male. And if you're working with your data, it could be any member of a particular dimension going in one direction. And we'll just say then negative count, so negative that measure, else all the other data in this case is female, and we'll just say positive count. And this is going to give us count pi, and when I hit OK, now bring this out onto columns, we're going to have bars going in two directions, and that's great. You'll also notice that I forgot to reorder my bars here, so we're going to reorder those. I'm just going to hopefully this will work. I'm just going to take these values and sort of, we can fast forward through this, but I'm going to reorder these quick. And now that we have it reordered, we're just now going to take sex off of here. We're going to put it on color. So there we go. And now we have pretty much a functioning population pyramid. However, there's a couple things we're going to want to do to make this look good. We're going to want to know the percent of the total values, not just the numbers here. And then often what we'll see is sort of a shaded value behind it, showing the maximum value by age to go with it. So we can sort of see how much more is in one direction or the other. So, and this will particularly affect the male side of this visualization. As we get older, notice the discrepancy of, quite a few females in this case, and we'll see like a gradient chart behind it. So I'm just going to create another calculation, and this one should be a fun one. We're going to start by saying a fixed calculation. We'll say fixed, and we're going to aggregate this up by our age and by our sex. We're just going to say sum of count. So this is going to aggregate all of our data by each one of the individual bars here in our data set. And from there, we're going to want to return on both sides what's the maximum count by age group. So from here, we're going to wrap this whole thing in another function. We're going to have a nested table calculation, and we're going to say max. And we're going to put that in a fixed calculation. So it's two level of detail, and we're going to fix the outermost calculation here on age. And what this is going to do when we're all said and done is for under 5, it's going to return 10,094 for both male and female. So we'll just have behind the scenes of this, behind this bar chart, it'll be a little bit light blue to show the improportion on here. And then for 5 to 9, the value will show 10,328 for both male and female. So we'll just call this BG for background. And this is just going to get this started. We actually need one more calculation to go with this. We can actually put it right in here. So we're going to do this calculation. Then we're going to say multiply. and we're going to do an if statement. And we're going to say if sex is equal to male, then -1, else 1, end. And that's it. So this is now going to give me a negative value, whatever is returning from this view. I'm going to hit apply. There's our BG calculation. I'm going to place this on columns to the left of count pi, and you'll see as I bring that out, we have these, ignore the labels here. Those are actually just the regular counts. If I brought the count out onto BG here for that marks card, you will see that they're symmetrical, both positive and negative. That's a great thing. We don't need the label, so I'm going to remove the label from that marks card. I'm going to change the color, not the actual color of the bars, but I'm just going to change the opacity on it to be down. I'm going to change it to 67%, so like 2/3 of the actual value. Then I can just right-click on the count pi axis, create a dual axis. Don't worry about the dots. Let's synchronize it first. We'll synchronize it up. And then now let's go back and change the mark type to bar. And it looks a little bit interesting here. That's because measure names is now on both of the bar types. You can just remove measure names from your view, and there you have it. Now you'll see that improportionality that is sort of on the female side up until 29, and then later on the males slowly having a differential showing up. So not only do we have the counts here, but you know, we have the actual difference. If you wanted to add one last thing to your population pyramid, it would be the percent of the total population. And the easiest way to do this is just do, and we'll create it as an actual calculation here. So we'll just create a new calculation, and we'll just call this percent of pop. And to stick with the theme, we'll stick with a level of detail calculation for this, but it's just going to be sum of count. And we're going to divide this by the sum of a fixed global calculation of sum of count. You don't have to worry about the double sum here. We just need an aggregation, and an aggregation, Tableau is going to roll all this data up, and it's virtualized at the highest level in the data. So it's only going to return one value. The aggregation is not going to affect our view at all. You'll notice as we bring that out on our calculation. We do want to just change the default properties here. We're going to change the number formatting to a percentage. I'll show you that again. I'm going to leave one decimal place in this case, but I'm just right-clicking, and I'm going to default properties, number format, and that's going to change the formatting. Let's just take this, place this out on label. They disappeared because they're on two different rows, but I'm going to edit my text here, and then I can just take sum of count, and I'll put it on our view, and I'll put the percentage in parentheses, and I'll hit OK. And now that's it. That's our population pyramid. That's how we create it. We just have a little bit of formatting to do to make this look good. So I probably can uncheck show header. I can probably format this and remove our column dividers. Maybe I want row dividers. That probably doesn't hurt too much, just to call out those individual values. But I don't need my grid lines, I don't need my zero lines, and I don't need my axis rulers. If you watch enough of these videos, you're going to hear me say those same things over and over and over again. And that's it. That's our population pyramid. You know, I can play around with some of the formatting a little bit to make it look a little bit better, but that's it. That's the entirety of this visualization. Before we wrap up this video, I want to have you give this a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being super easy, 10 being really difficult. Where do you rate the population pyramid? I actually think it's somewhere in the middle personally, but I want to hear how you would rate it and give a little justification to go with it. Anyway, that's this video. This is population pyramids. Hopefully you've learned how to create them. It's more than just one calculation if you want to add that detail to it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it. And if you're enjoying the series, be sure to subscribe so you can get the content as it rolls out to you directly. And once again, appreciate you. You made it through the entire video, and we'll catch you in the next one.